So, I watched episode 5, which had a few more noticeable differences from the first 4 episodes. This time, it had Happy on a cleaner, but still very bent stick. This episode was also somewhat more disturbing than the last few. After the theme song played, the episode revealed itself to be called Monkey Bar Mishap. It started with Happy in his van driving to the playground when he sees a kid crying near some monkey bars. Once he parks the van and goes to the monkey bars, Happy finds out that the kid had fallen off of them, cutting his little finger open. Happy said, "What does Jake need to heal this boo-boo, kids?" He gave off this smile at the screen for a couple of minutes, enough time to read a page of a book, preferably the Bible. Like in Nate Needs Help, his soulless baby blue eyes watched over anyone in the room like Big Brother. Finally, after a bit, he said, "That's right," and puts a bandage on Jake's finger. After getting hugged by Jake, he drives away in his van. It skipped to episode 6 immediately, which had a better chance of being aired on Wonder shows than the Nick Jr. In the episode, called Never Run with Knives, a kid was, well, running with a knife, facing up. The knife was clearly a rubber prop because the blade was flopping around a lot, but the kid got cut and held his hand over the wound, crying. As blood began to trickle from the poor kid, you see Happy pull up and park his van. He approached the kid, gave a normal smile, and said, "Hey kids, he shouldn't have been running with the knife pointing up," as he healed the kid's cut with another magical bandage. The kid hugged Happy and he said, "Remember kids, never run with knives facing up, or scissors for that matter. Always walk with knives and scissors facing down." Happy takes the kid to his van, drives off, and the credits roll. However, after the credits, the episode ends on a very disturbing note when he comes back in his van, the kid missing, and says, "Hey kids, if you find me in my van, just talk to me, and I'll take you away." Episode 7 began with Happy on the playground, but he wasn't playing with the kids or helping them. He was just staring at them with that unsettling smile I hate so goddamn much. A group of kids are playing with jump ropes when Happy walks over to them. He calmly tells them something, but I could barely hear what he said. From what I heard, I could only make out, "Hello, Happy, how, please?" I could see where this was going as the kids walked with Happy into the bushes of the playground. For almost a minute and a half, all you could hear were loud and violent screams, until you see Happy drag 3 bloody bodies to his van. God, I couldn't believe that. For the rest of the episode, he does that same damn death smile. It was almost like he could climb out of your TV, grab you, and murder you slowly and painfully with a rusty knife. I hesitantly moved on to episode 8 and 9. This time the episodes were so violent and shoddy that they couldn't have aired on Noggin at all. Episode 8 had Happy take a kid into his van. For half of the episode, flesh cutting could be heard, and so could loud screaming, which slowly turned into gurgles. As the scene progressed, blood splatters on the windows began to appear. Eventually, Happy emerged from the van and did a death smile until the end of the show. It immediately cuts to episode 9. It was just as gory and violent. But this episode was so coincidental that I couldn't believe Noggin would even allow it unless it was hijacked or something. It starts out with Happy walking around the playground when 2 kids ask him what the cycle of life is so that they could complete their homework. He proceeds to tell the kids about the cycle of life in frogs and plants. The kids said, "Thanks, Happy. Can you play with us for a bit?" Happy agrees and they start playing on the playground. When this happens, smoke starts to creep up behind Happy and the children. It gets to a point where they start coughing because of how dense the smoke is, so they turn around to see what was making the smoke, and gasp at the sight in front of them. Two towers were on fire and billowing smoke. A few people are falling out of windows left and right to escape the fire. There was a lot of screaming, falling debris, and a crashed airplane in one of the towers. Only the tail of the plane was visible, which was nearing the point of collapse. I could hear a faint whining noise at this point, and I think it was the plane's engine, which was likely still on. 7 seconds later, the tail of the plane finally broke apart, the largest piece of the tail hitting and killing someone. During this scene, fire trucks could be heard trying to douse out the flames. The wailing of ambulances could also be heard, taking away the bodies of the people who jumped from the towers. It cuts to a scene where a man who jumped out of the tower was on fire, screaming on his way down. Happy and the kids are seen again, but this time they stood still in fear. The smoke kept getting thicker and thicker, slowly obscuring the trees and the equipment of the playground. The debris from the towers fell around the kids and Happy, and a person ran up to them and told them to run away before running off himself. When the older kid worriedly said, "Happy, Appy, why are the towers on fire?" It cuts to a higher-up floor that was near where the plane crashed, which revealed a kid that was under a huge piece of concrete crying for help. Some other kids tried to help him by lifting the piece of concrete off of him. He was screaming so loud it was almost heartbreaking. There were bodies and blood everywhere, and the pain and fear on the trapped kid's face was so realistic, I couldn't help but cringe. After the shot with the kid trapped into the concrete, the younger kid turns to the side and says, "Happy, Appy, why are people running and falling from the towers?" Happy Appy turns to the camera, a death smile on his face, and very coldly said 3 words. 3 words that will haunt me as long as I research this show. That's natural, children. He walked the 2 kids away from the towers, leaving the kids stuck under concrete screaming for help. When the credits rolled, the audio of the scene kept playing, and at the end, before the video cuts out, something collapsed, making a very loud noise that could scare anyone watching. I jumped out of my seat. So many questions started to flood my mind. Was Happy a Deathbringer in the form of an apple? Was he a master predictor? If that episode somehow predicted 9/11, I have to watch episodes 10 and 11 to see if there was anything else predicted. I might not see any, though, and honestly, I hope not. There's another thing I want to try before I watch the next episodes, though. I want to see if that tsunami aid number is still valid. I'll tell you guys the results tomorrow.